Hey, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I'm Jabin Postal, and today at the grill, I'm going to be cooking up an amazing rack of Honey Sriracha spare ribs using the Slow N Sear Kettle. You're going to love this recipe for sure. And so, just like always, I'm going to put all the show notes as well as the full recipe in the description box below for you. So make sure to click down there to see everything that you need for this cook. Also, if you like what we're doing on this channel, consider subscribing for more great barbecue recipes, tutorials, and reviews. And other than that, let's get into the cook. As I said, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I appreciate you being here. Today at the grill, I'm gonna be making up some delicious Honey Sriracha spare ribs using the Slow N Sear Kettle. And this is a really great recipe for a hot summer day because it has a nice balance of sweet, spicy, and a little bit of lime, just to add a little bit of balance to this recipe. And so today, like I said, I'm using some St. Louis style ribs. The only thing I've gone ahead and done is remove the membrane. If you wanna leave that on, go for it. If you wanna score it, that's up to you. I prefer just to remove it from the back of the ribs. And then you'll notice as well that there is a little bit of a flap on the one side. I'm just going to leave that on because I'm just cooking for me and my boys today, and so we're not really worried about how this appears at the very end. We just want to eat it and have some fun. But if you want to make these look really nice, just grab a knife and cut off this end and square it up, and that will give you a nice looking rack of ribs. And so what I'm going to do today to season this, I'm going to start with my sriracha. Like I said, this is a Honey Sriracha rib recipe, and so I'm going to be using sriracha today as a little bit of a binder for a rub to stick to. It's going to add a little bit of extra flavor. It's going to go really nice with these ribs. All right, to season my ribs today, I'm going to be using my original rub. This stuff goes really well on ribs. It's got a right balance of sweet, savory, a little bit of spice, and of course those salts. And so I'm going to liberally coat the outside of these ribs, starting with that underside. There we go. And I'm going to flip these over, and I'm going to do the same process to the other side. So again, I'm going to apply my sriracha as that binder. And then again, I'm going to hit this top section with that original rub. Get a nice coating on this. There we go. And so with these ribs all seasoned up and ready to go, let me show you how I set up the Slow N Sear Kettle for cooking today around 250 to 275 degrees. So to set up our grill today for cooking, I placed in about 20 briquettes into the Slow N Sear, and I got those coals fully lit. Next, I filled up the remainder of the Slow N Sear basket, and then I closed the lid and allowed that temperature to stabilize between 250 and 275 degrees. So with my grill set up for cooking between 250 and 275 degrees, let's go ahead and get these ribs onto the grill opposite the coals. Grab those and place those directly on that grill. The last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some cherry wood, and I'm going to place that directly over the coals. Just add a little bit of smoky flavor to these ribs. And so with everything on our grill, I'm going to close up our lid, and I'm going to begin smoking these ribs for probably about 3 hours to start with before I place them in a wrap. And I'm also going to come back about halfway through to give them a spritz. I've been cooking these ribs for about an hour and a half now, and our grill temperature has been rock steady around that 260 degree mark, as well as that cherry wood smoke has been rolling the entire time, and it absolutely smells phenomenal back here. I'm going to give it a spritz with the combination of half water, half apple cider vinegar. But before I do that, let's just open up the grill and we'll take a look. Oh guys, just look at that color on there. You can see that it's starting to pick up a little bit of that mahogany color from that cherry wood, and these are cooking along exactly how I anticipated. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give them a spritz just to keep them a little bit hydrated. There we go. So I'm gonna quickly close up that lid again, and I'm gonna continue to smoke these ribs until they reach that 3 hour mark. I will come back about 45 minutes from now and give it a second spritz, but I'll see you at the 3 hour mark. Our grill temperature has been rock steady around 260 degrees the entire time. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna remove it from the grill and place it into a foil wrap. And what that's gonna do is gonna help cook these ribs a little bit faster, as well as with that moist heat, which is also going to just make it juicy and tender and absolutely delicious. So let's get it off the grill and into our foil pouch. Guys, just take a look at that. You can really see at this point now that that cherry wood has really added a lot of color. And so I'm gonna remove these from the grill, and I'm gonna place these face down on this foil. And then I'm just gonna make a little bit of a boat for this, and I'm gonna give it one last spritz all around. I'm gonna quickly just wrap this up. And I'm gonna make sure it's nice and tight so our steam doesn't get out. And so I'm gonna place these back onto the grill I'm gonna close up this lid again quickly, and I'm gonna continue to cook these ribs until they become probe tender. This is likely gonna be about an hour to hour and a half more time in that foil pouch. And so while I wait for our ribs to finish cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and make my honey sriracha sauce. All right, so to make this honey sriracha sauce that we're gonna use to glaze over these ribs, you're only gonna need 4 ingredients. We're gonna start with a little bit of honey. We're gonna add 1 part honey. Just gonna pour some of this in, and I'm just gonna be eyeballing it today. But if you want a full recipe, I'll put a link in the description box for you. I'm gonna add 1 part sriracha. There. And again, with your sriracha, add as much or as little as you like. Next, I'm gonna add in a little bit of soy sauce. There we go. And then lastly, I'm gonna take a half of a lime, and I'm gonna squeeze that into this sauce as well. Ooh, that lime in here just smells absolutely wonderful. It's gonna add a little bit of brightness to the spice and that sweet honey. All right, that's the consistency that I'm looking for. You can see it's quite thin. It's a little more of a glaze than actual barbecue sauce. This is gonna be the perfect sauce to glaze on these honey sriracha ribs. All right, so my ribs have been cooking for about an hour and 15 minutes in that foil pouch, and I did go ahead about 15 minutes ago and open up that foil and just look at those ribs to see if they were close to being done, and they weren't quite ready yet. So I gave them an extra 15 minutes, and so let's take a look to see if they're done. All right, let's see these guys. Right off the bat, when I look at these, you can see that the bones are starting to pull out. You can see there's some nice tenderness, and those bones are almost wanting to pull out. And so let's get some of this honey sriracha sauce onto these ribs. Apply some of this to the underside first, and then flip these ribs over. All right, let's get some of this sauce onto the top of these ribs. There we go. So I'm gonna quickly close up this lid, and I'm gonna let these ribs continue to cook for about 10 more minutes to allow that sauce to tack up a little bit, and then we'll pull them out and we'll get ready for the taste test. All right, so it took just under 4.5 hours, and these honey sriracha spare ribs are all done, and they smell phenomenal. And the aroma with that sriracha sauce really comes through nicely. So let's cut into these and see how they are. All right, this one here has been calling my name. All right, here we go. Let's go for the taste test. Oh man, whew. There's that bit of spice right there. You know, when it comes to ribs, we often gravitate to the sweet rub, sweet sauce. But when you cook a rack of ribs like this, where you get that sweetness, but then also the big flavors of that sriracha and the honey and lime, it really becomes a showstopper. So a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, and then balanced out all together with that hint of lime in there. This is one of those racks of ribs you need to try out if you've never done it before. I'm gonna go in and finish this one here. Man, this is good. So that's how you make those amazing honey sriracha ribs for your next feast. You're gonna love them for sure. Hey, if you wanna see more barbecue videos just like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. Also, special thank you to all my patrons out there who help support this channel every single week. So until next time, keep that fire lit and get cooking. Mm-hmm.